Somewhere along the line, he found out he was going to have to change a little bit because of age and injury, like great players do. Okay, so how does he? What has he done that I've noticed? Okay, well, first of all, he used to be an on-the-ball defender. He doesn't defend on the ball. Now, interestingly, when he was an on-ball defender, he was great. As an off-ball defender, even 5 years ago, he was below average. Heard this from a lot of people. You know, on the ball, he can pay attention to the ball. He can lock in. He's really good. He was great against Harden. That was his strength. Yeah. When Klay's defending off the ball, he loses a little bit of focus. He loses his concentration. Therefore, he's not as good a defender off the ball. So Klay Thompson goes from great on-the-ball defender to below average off-the-ball defender. But over the course of the season, as an off-the-ball defender, Klay Thompson has gotten better. He's gotten better over the course of the season as an off-ball defensive player. That's good. The other thing he's done, he's shown more discretion in his game and more diversity. The first 2 or 3 months, it was all about him trying to make threes. Over the course of the season, what have we seen? You know, he's been able to put it on the floor a little more and find guys who are open. Now, he's not a distributor. You don't want him to be, but he's gotten better at it. You know what else he's starting to do a little more of? Post up. Just like many of the great wing players as they get older. So, Klay Thompson, over the course of this season, has absolutely, positively gotten better. But to me, it's been more of he's growing into what he knows he now is, which is a player beyond his prime a little bit. And in order to be the best he can be, he's going to have to change around the edges. And I see him doing that.
Well, I don't have to defend him because you laid it out how you feel, and I'm not saying you're wrong. And I've saw the things.
Well, not wrong. I'm right. Say I'm right.
No.
What if I said that's not right?
That Klay was finished, pal?
I never said Klay was finished. Okay. Don't do that. All right. Please don't do that, you. I never said Klay was finished.
Where is this energy coming from?
It's coming from getting sick of people not understanding what I'm saying.
Okay. So I got to get some Q-tips.
I never said Klay was finished, ever. I would never say that, Goo.
What did you, when he was at his lowest
with my
point,
words.
Steiny,
he's not as good as he once was.
I see you every day. Okay.
He's not as good as he once was.
Evan can get on the mic and tell you what you said last year when he was back. And everybody was coming down your road.
I can't believe this.
You wrote him off. You wrote him off.
Okay, so this is what you're going to do.
No, you wrote him off.
You're going to tell the guy. You're going to tell the guy who's more careful with his words than anybody under the sun that I said Klay Thompson was washed.
I'm asking. Tell us what you said.
You're a liar.
What did you say? What did you say?
I said he is not the player he was.
Okay, you said it's different than that, and that's why
decline.
All right, Steiny, you sound like a man that's apologizing without apologizing.
Like a man pissed off that you're going to say that I said he was washed.
Yeah, pretty much.
I never.
Klay Thompson.
Oh, now it's pretty much.
That what did
By
you say?
By the end of the discussion, it's going to be Steiny. You're right. You never said that.
Not own something you said. Because what you're doing is you got a complex now, and I just can't ignore it. And I'm just telling you how it sounds. You come in here the last 2 days. You did the stuff yesterday, and so were you. What did you say?
I said
I'm asking you because it didn't come out like you're saying.
He's in decline.
Because I'm not going to yell.
What don't you understand?
Okay.
He's in decline.
You said it that softly. You said it that softly?
You just said I was yelling about it.
No, I know. I'm saying you used stronger words last year.
No, I did not. Okay. What's stronger than he's in decline?
He's finished.
I never said that. You know what?
Come off the bench.
Shame on you.
You and Shasky.
I never said come off the bench.
Okay.
You don't have to listen to me.
You know what? I won't give you
What are you talking about?
You didn't say to come off the bench, but Steiny, come on, man.
I never said he was finished.
Then what's with these apologies that you won't own? What do you think you're doing right now? I'm just telling you how you sound.
I'm discussing a player in detail,
you're
which people aren't able to do in this day and age.
Well,
bottom line, you can be in decline and still help your team. You can be in decline and not be washed up. Right. I would never say Klay's washed up.
All right.
No chance. I'm too careful with my words. Klay is not the player he was 2 years ago. He's gotten better since the beginning of the year. I never said he was washed. He's not going to have as many good games as he has in the past. What's so hard to understand? Who's saying he's done?
I guess nobody.
I know I'm not, because I try to be a little more precise than that. God. It's a Warriors Wednesday. I mean, I can't sit here and have you say, Steiny, you said he was washed. Dude, that's a phrase I don't even use. I've told you I hate that. I never used washed. I think that's the most disrespectful word you could ever use.
If we don't talk again, Steiny, I would just say, if you want to say you didn't use wash, you use a million other words to park the car, and you don't think he'll ever get back. And what you're doing now,
think he will get back.
I don't know. I'm just telling you, it ain't fake, because I ain't saying you're being fake. You're subconsciously apologizing.
No, I'm not.
And I need to just remind you where you were at on Klay when it was all bad.
Which is where?
Which he was pretty much done.
No.
Okay.
No.
So now. No,
you've got to be better than that. You can't characterize that.
What was yesterday's exercise then about if you take out his 3 words? This is something different now. What was that about? What was your bigger point?
My bigger point is that Klay's had more inconsistency in his shooting this year than in past years. That this year, to use an example, let's say he's a 40% shooter. There's a difference to me between a guy who goes 4 for 10, 4 for 10, 4 for 10, as opposed to a guy who goes 2 for 10, 2 for 10, 8 for 10. I'm not even saying which one's better. You might be able to say the second one's better because that guarantees you win a game. My point is simply that there have been more upswings and downswings this year for Klay that have met in the middle.
And when I sat and focused and tried to give the man his flowers for the 2 best months of his career, you always default to that ain't gonna change my view. You were like, he's still not what he was. And my whole thing is, Steiny, who is what they were in 2019?
Nobody.
But especially with Klay.
So don't say he's back.
I feel he's back.
Okay.
Not to 2019.
Okay. Well, then just be specific.
Well, I'm just telling you, he's a marksman right now. And I know the 40, like I said, guys would kill to shoot 40% from 3. But if you compare him to his greatness, that ain't going to suffice. But if you just look at where he was at when all this stuff was dark, the dude, I just feel like he's playing the freest basketball he's ever played, Steiny.
Let's go to Dev in San Francisco. What's up, Dev? How you doing, man?
I'm doing good, and yourself?
Dynamite.
All right, so I just want to chime in on the Klay talk. I feel like you're right. I feel like Klay is coming to a decline. Although he's not the same player he was, he's good, but he's not where he was.
You're right. You're right. I don't know why. I'm not even saying anything. I'm not saying one damn thing that's even an insult to the guy. Is this the giveaway or the Warriors Wednesday, real quick? Hey, you want to go to Game 3 against the Sacramento Kings? We're giving away a pair of tickets to the Warriors' first home playoff game of the year. We're giving them away tomorrow. The game is not tomorrow. The giveaway is tomorrow. Each show gives out a keyword, and you will need all 3 keywords to win. Listen to the Morning Roast between 7:30 and 8, Steiny and Guru between 11:30 and 12, and Willard and Dibbs between 4:30 and 5 tomorrow to all hear 3 keywords for your chance to win.
Things are percolating.
Pick a subject. Can you?
I can't. I'm not mad. I just.
Well, I am a little bit.
Because
I feel like you mischaracterized me. I feel like I spend a lot of time, really getting detailed and precise.
Right.
And it comes back to me, you said Klay's washed. Go.
Yeah,
you know my list of 6 words that I can't stand.
And I'm going.
Go ahead.
And I love you like a brother.
I know you do.
That's why I'm not going to say you said those precise words. But Steiny, can you admit to the American public and myself, not you were a hater, because it ain't a hater. You doubted where he was, and when you ran over that sequence of where Klay's been, you didn't talk about this season because you gave him his flowers of where he was at and what he changed. You left out an important ingredient to me, which was that team meeting where I think some people called him out and said you got to play differently. Steiny, I'm not saying you hate Klay Thompson. I'm just saying the way you are with words, when he was at his low point, and I'm going to last year, Steiny, I felt like you felt like the only thing he had to achieve was could he get back to 19, and I always thought that was unfair. And that's why, as a brother, talking to you ad nauseum about this subject, I'm like, Steiny, that's unfair. He'll never get back to that plateau. And I told you, this Klay Thompson that you gave him his flowers for is balling. And my bottom line is, people, it's good enough. And technically, it was good enough last year because they won it. It's good enough, and the dude, from a science standpoint, has enough stamina and energy to hoist up the most threes, take the most threes, hit them. So I'm like, I don't know if the Warriors thought he would get to this plateau. So to say, I'm going to give you the victory on, you didn't say he's washed, but Steiny, that energy, your energy over the last year in regard to Klay Thompson was like, goo, he'll never be what he was. Now, that ain't washed.
When he had the 2 injuries, it was obvious he was never going to get back to the player he was. By the same token, I said yesterday, I never thought Klay would get back to this point as good as he is. Okay, as good as he's been and as much as he's done, all I'm saying is just you don't think there's a sentiment out there.
That was good what you just said.
You don't think there's a sentiment out there that thinks Klay Thompson is as good as he was in 19. Because I believe, and that's where, and I said, that's where my literal,
and that's what you said yesterday.
That's where when I'm being literal, it hurts me. Yeah. No doubt.
Like, you know what? To you asked me a question.
Klay Thompson is back. You can say he's back and not be. Steiny. Well, that's because when I hear he's back, I think he's back to what he was. And to me, it's like, I'll play that stupid game. He'll never be that way.
And can I be real and put a rat on the table? And Klay, I love you. I'm not saying this because I love you. Steiny, it was so dark and he was so low. I don't think anybody could fix their mouth to say he's back to 19. It's just like he's at peace now.
Exactly.
And he looks like himself shooting the ball.
Exactly.
Okay, defense, okay, I get that. But what he had to overcome, the doubt that people were putting on his situation, I thought that was way more heavy than what we're hearing now about where he's at.
But like the reason he's not the same player is because of the injury. Right, something he couldn't control.
No doubt.
So if I haven't given him enough credit for coming 80% back and I'm focusing on the 20s not there, I'm guilty.
Okay.
I'm guilty. Just don't tell me he's 100% of what he was.
I never did that, and I won't tell you that.
And the other thing is, like,
he wouldn't tell you.
Well, then
Klay wouldn't. He told us. But my point to you and the listeners is, Steiny, this Klay Thompson with Steph Curry, and if Dre were to leave, and I know Brownie Blends agreed with you on Facebook, we'll get to that, they're a factor for some more years. Like, it's a good feeling. This Klay's good enough, and he ain't going to rest on his laurels. I'm just like, this Klay, oh my gosh. Okay, there's some more. It's not the end.
Well, you're higher on that whole thing than I am.
That's the fan in me.